Last August I was in Rockhampton for the hunting and fishing show. It was a great few days and busy as always, but being in that part of Queensland meant that I was able to stay with my good friend Clark McGhie. After the show we finally got together for a hunt we'd been planning for 2 years.
Almost ready?
Mate, we are ready to go.
So we'll pack a few things on the ute and we're rolling.
Good stuff.
Your chocky, your axe, hop up. Hop up. Good dog, good dog, good dog.
Leaving Clark's home base in Rocky, we headed northwest for a 5-hour drive into cattle country and the heart of the Chital home range in Northern Queensland.
It's about this time of the year, mid-July. A couple of years ago I was down in your territory, mate, freezing my tail off.
Yeah, we sorted you out with gear and pointed you in the direction of the mountains and you had a really good backpack hunt.
Yeah, like, to get back, right back there in that remote Samba country is just something special, and to take a big stag while I was there was just awesome.
Yeah, that ticks every box. And now we're up here in Queensland, it's a big state, and in terms of hunting you've got some big bulls, some big pigs, some big deer, but there's also a little spotty deer that holds a big place in your heart.
Yeah, it certainly is. The axis or the Chital deer, they're something special, and they might be a little bit smaller than the others, but they've got a heart like a lion and they fight like a Trojan. They're a really good deer to hunt, and you know, like this time of the year it's a little bit cooler. There's some big stags coming out of velvet as well, and you know, we've got 3 or 4 days up our sleeve now. Let's see what we can do. I think we've got a pretty good chance.
Mid-afternoon we reached the 80,000 acre property, loaded our gear into the guest house and wasted no time in getting geared up to get straight out for a look around.
What I reckon we'll do is we'll head out this afternoon, out this side here with our wind right, and let's just see what we can see. Look for some fresh rubs where we've got a big, older stag, active stag working, and let's just see what comes up. 3 weeks or a month.
Despite looking hard, we found no fresh stag sign. Clark reckoned an evening stalk along the creeks might be a better option, and he was spot on.
We've seen a lot of hind sign, but we're just now getting onto stag tracks. Quite a few have tracked through this creek here, so I'd say up on top of the bank, on some green pasture up here, there could be some stags.
We tracked them up in the soft sand and game trails, and using the creek banks as cover, we were able to get in closer, and I got my first look at the Chital deer. Just getting to that time of the day, that perfect time of the day. The sun drops a bit, shadows get longer, and the deer come out. Sure enough, Eagle Eyes here has picked up a few.
There's 3 here, but you look down the back, right down there, there's a really good stag going to the left.
The deer were beautiful to watch, and with the breeze in our face, they slowly fed towards us, unaware of our presence. We got a fleeting glimpse of a good stag as he ghosted through the scrub, so we sat tight and waited, hoping to get a better look at him as they fed past.
I think there's still one stag to come through. He may be a shooter. I can't see his length yet.
The sun started to sink and we were fast running out of light, and despite some smaller stags moving through, the big guy didn't show. And just when we thought he'd given us the slip, we caught another glimpse.
Can I have your gun? Give me the gun. Say absolute crap.
The big stag was holding back in cover. We thought we had him pinned when an unseen hind spotted us and let out her characteristic alarm call. We stayed dead still, and with the wind right, they eventually calmed down.
I put him at 29.5. 29.5, he's got one.
The big stag waited until last light, then he and his mates finally made their way out into the open, and I had to make the decision whether to take him or not. He was an awesome sight as he strutted around, asserting his dominance over the other stags, preaching and rubbing. Clark was into me to take him, and my heart was racing at the sight of all that antler but something made me hold back. The dreaded first day syndrome had struck. While he looked to be a monster and Clark urged me to shoot, I reluctantly decided to pass him up as I still had plenty of time and a heap of ground to cover.
He was hard to leave, mate, but I thought we might be able to squeeze better. It's first night. Fenced in by Chital Stag.
Yeah, sometimes it happens that way, and it can be that the best one you see is right off the get-go. You never know.
He was beautiful to watch. The trigger finger was a bit itchy.
He was a great stag, yeah.
Yeah, well.
In that 30-inch range.
Beautiful shape on him, but we've backed out. We've backed out on him. We haven't put him up. So fingers crossed. When I can't find a smaller one in the last hour, come back and get him.
Yeah. Well, we should be able to find him again. We haven't spoke to him. That's the main thing. We've used the cover of that creek, got our wind right, backed off, and we're out.
Well, let's get out of here now.
Right out, yeah.
Day 2 dawned clear and cold, the perfect conditions for stalking, and we're away early to cover some ground and glass some of the more open country, hoping to catch the deer out feeding.
This just shows how well these Chital deer use whatever cover they've got. Like, there's nothing here but grass. We've just seen a young stag, is it, on his own?
No, he's got a hind with him. I reckon he's about a 26-incher, but a really good style. And he's just laid out. These little guys are just great at busting in this long grass. If they think there's any danger around, they'll just plonk down, and then when you get closer to them, they just jump up and float.
Clark's one of this country's most passionate deer men, and during the hunt I sat down with him to find out more about the Chital.
Now Clark, it's fair to say you've had a near lifetime of involvement with the Chital here in Queensland. Give us a bit of background and take us through their origins and release.
They were first introduced into Queensland in the 1860s as like a house pet. But from there they've spread over quite a large area of northern Queensland, predominantly on the cattle properties of big landowners.
What about a bit of background on their breeding cycle and their life cycle?
They're strange little characters in a lot of ways. The females breed on a different ratio to the stag, so a female can actually have 3 fawns in about 26, 28 months, where the stags seem to cycle on a 12-month basis. So they mix their own genetics up.
Okay.
And this actually has given us one of the best herds of Chital deer in the world.
Now what about the terrain up here that hunters expect and some of the things, the key points you're looking for in a trophy stag?
Well, the terrain up here is varied. It can go from big basalt bluffs through to big savanna sort of flats and scrubby gullies, and these are very adaptable, these animals. They're only held back by the predators such as the wedge-tailed eagle and the dingoes.
Right.
So they often will live in close proximity to humans. And you sometimes see large herds of like 1,000 in a mob. You go a couple of kilometres and you won't see any. So they're quite a unique little animal that way. And when we're hunting them, we try and take a balance across the herd. So we're taking quite a few females, and we try and take the very best of the older stags and leave the good quality young ones to do the breeding.
Yep, and what kind of age bracket are you looking at in a top class stag?
Sort of from that 7 to 12 year is the best trophy potential. Most times 8 to 10, that's when you'll get those big thumpers. And we're looking for the really big guys, which could be up to 32, 34 inches long.
How's that work out in brows and inners, etc.?
Well, most of your really good trophies will have between 10 and 14-inch brow tines, good hooky brows. They'll have good mass down low, big coronets, sometimes even basal snags down on the brow tines. Good spread. Sometimes I've seen them up to 32 inches wide and 32 inches long. And big round, beautiful heads, big inner tines. That can be up to 10 or 11 inches long with the average in that 5-6 inch bracket.
Yep.
So that's sort of the main things we look for.
As hunters, we see the Chital as a beautiful species and a great huntable game species, but some people up here don't see it that way.
That's right. As their numbers grow, there's been pressure from government to class them as a pest and in some places to eradicate. We see the deer can't be a pest if they're managed properly. So that's the message we're getting across to landowners. Keep your female herd down to suit the area, get hunters in to take the good stags, generate some income and manage these deer under quality deer management principles.
the open areas we'd glassed earlier in the morning turning up nothing much at all, we headed back into the timber to start stalking the scrubbier country closer to the water.
This is a typical little creek line for up here in North Queensland, and the Chital, especially the bachelor stags, like working up and down these little draws, getting that sweet little pick off the banks. So we'll just go down here this morning, we'll head down here with our wind right, it's coming back in our face, and just see what comes off the main creek line.
The morning was proving to be a challenge. With the conditions perfect, we covered plenty of ground, but unbelievably couldn't seem to find any deer.
Up here, the areas that these deer live in can be sometimes 50, 60,000 acres, so you've got a lot of country to travel. We could easily bump some just here in one of these little gullies, but we might have to get right back up in the foot of those ranges. It depends on where they are.
As always, persistence paid off.
Just seen a cracking mob, bedded up on the hill, got the wind right, got time.
Yeah. Everything's good. He's a lovely stag too.
He looks a beautiful stag.
Big sweeping brows.
Talk about the centuries though, he's got what, 15 lines with him.
They're just all fanned out and every deer is looking in a different direction.
Got this mob straight up on the hill there, behind us. Just got to assess the trophy potential. This guy's a man to die.
Okay, it's difficult to sort of get a good exact length on this stag because he's lying down with his antlers like to the side of us. One of the critical factors of any of these stags is their top length measurement. Now, they're normally between about 14 inches and about 18 inches from the coronet to the inner tine, with the majority about 15 to 16. So if we say he's 15 down low, he needs a 15-inch top to be 30 inches. 30 inches is that sort of magical figure, but you know, we could possibly pull one out here that's 31 or even up to 33.
The stag definitely looked the goods and the adrenaline started pumping. We had to get closer though for a better look or the chance of a clear shot. So with minimal cover, we stayed low and started to bum slide in and close the gap.
We've now got within 70 metres of this mob up on the hill here. We've got to get a good look at this big stag. He's fallen asleep. We can't get a look at that antler.
We need him up so we can check.
I reckon he's fallen asleep head first into the shrub.
He's pretty cosy.
He's got 15 pairs of ears on the lookout and 15 noses. It's pretty safe on a little rocky outcrop. What a top defensive spot, typical deer behaviour wherever you are in the world, isn't it?
Yeah. These Chital, because of the attacks they get from wedge-tailed eagles and dingoes and from man, they've developed this pretty well. They get back on these little knobs, spread out, look every direction, one alarm call, and off they go.
Yeah. Bow.
It's definitely a great stag, this one. The only doubt I have, I can't get a look at his other side, his near side, inner tine.
Yeah, he's just spun around then.
He's got good brows.
And he?
All it is, it looks like he's chipped about 1.5 inches, 2 inches off one inner tine.
Yeah.
One's about 6, another's about 4. He's just chipped, so
yeah.
Way it goes. Pull away. Leave him be. There's a lot more deer here we've got to look at yet.
Yep.
Since we first spotted him earlier, nearly 2 hours had passed, but in the end we were confident we'd made the right decision. We left them none the wiser, and although he was a great stag, I was really keen to see what else we could find on a large property. Apart from some old pig sign, the rest of the day was very quiet and we did it really tough, failing to find any deer. I was starting to think that maybe passing up 2 good stags was a bad idea. By mid-afternoon, the heat had really kicked in and we headed for the creek.
Oh, that's good, mate. For a Victorian in the middle of winter, I feel like I'm in the Sahara. It's only bloody 25 degrees.
Yeah, it is. It is a little abnormally warm for winter time, but it's still, this is pretty mild compared to summer.
You concentrate, or a lot of the peak hunting for chital is in the early part of the year, late summer.
Yeah, it's sort of January, February is a really good time, but it's your monsoonal heat then, and it's can get up to 40 degrees. Humidity off the scale.
Yeah, that'd be hard work.
It's hard work, but it is really a challenge.
Yeah.
It is the time to hunt them if you want to do it the classic way.
Why complain then?
This is really the land of the dinosaurs up here. The country is so old, you find these petrified logs all around the place where you can actually see a whole tree where it's laid on the ground, turned to stone, and all little fossils, and some of our megafauna. You'll find the big bones coming out of the banks. You can see 4 of 5 branches of this tree here. Here's one broken into sections. It was wood once, but now it's solid rock.
On sunset, we arrived back at the vehicle and wrapped up a great day's stalking. The big bedded stag from the morning was the highlight, and with the afternoon proving really tough, I decided that from now on, I wasn't passing up any more stags, and I was going to take the next good opportunity that came my way. Day 3 arrived and it was to be my last full day's hunting before I had to return home to Melbourne, so it was going to be a big one. The plan for the morning was to head back to the area where he'd seen the big stag on the first evening. We finally found some fresh sign, and with the assistance of Clark's well-trained hunting companion Chocky, the border collie, we soon caught up with the deer.
9 there and 7 there. No sign of the big boy.
Searching further, another mob of deer was spotted bedded on top of a hill.
We've come up on this hill, these deer we've been watching all morning. He stood up just up in front of us there in the grass. There's a mob of smaller stags up here starting to move off. They're onto us. We're a bit snookered here to move any further. Just wait till we see if we can get a good look at him.
We decided he was a shooter and moved in to close the gap, but at the last minute, a hind spotted us. With the alarm call sounded, they all bolted, and out in the open we got a good look at the stag. He was big, and while I took aim, it was realistically out of my range and an unethical shot, so we took off on foot to try and catch up with him.
Yep, that's him. That's the big boy. He's bedded in there.
Sure it's not a rock with sticks?
No. It's a big antlered rock.
It's going to feed out to the right.
Yep.
Let's get ourselves over here where we can get his mate.
Yeah, he looks beautiful. Tucked in there.
Good looking stag.
Yeah, it's only 80 metres.
This is it.
The deer had pulled up and settled in a tight patch of cover down near the creek. We could see him clearly bedded in the scrub, but we had to get in close to get a clean shot. For nearly an hour, we crawled and crept closer, trying to get a clear shooting lane. It was an exciting stalk, but at the last minute, again a hind busted us and they all took off. The hunting was proving to be a real challenge, but we kept pushing on, and with the help of some height, Clark spotted a small mob in the distance.
Young stags there, about a 25-inch in velvet, hard velvet. There's got to be some big boys here somewhere though. They're just coming out of the shadows.
Another good stag was spotted, and as we got set for the shot, the wind changed and he bolted.
He smelled us.
These Chital Stags are playing real hard to get. We're trying really hard. The luck and the wind, it's not our friend. That stag did absolute classic big stag tactics where he veered away from the main mob, left them as a bit of cannon fodder, and he sucked us in. We put him up in the bush, and then we saw the mob out to the left, and sure enough, he just stayed in the scrub with maybe one hind, and another mad goose chase through here, but he's in top gear now and gone. I'm sick of all the smart chital, mate. Can you find me the dumb ones now?
They are the dumb ones.
Oh, no!
With evening fast approaching, our last roll of the dice was a shallow gully that Clark knew usually held deer. After some solid glassing, we finally hit the jackpot. A mature trophy-class stag was spotted feeding in the long grass below us. In the fading light of my last day, my only chance was my last chance.
Oh man, we did that the hard way. Well, man, we've had a big day. We've had a big day. That was the hard way. The Queensland Chital, I'm wrapped.
Well done.
Those grouse, beauty, what a stalk as well. You just get a bit lost for words.
You've earned him.
Yeah,
You did.
feels like it.
Let's have a look at him.
Yeah. This is a very special end to a 4-day hunt in North Queensland for these beautiful Chital deer. Thanks again, Clark, mate.
My pleasure, mate.
And for your expertise in these things. These are a specialty of yours, and it's shown this weekend with your fantastic knowledge of these animals. I want to thank Beretta Australia for the use of this beautiful Seiko Bavarian. These little deer are not to be underestimated in any way, as I've learnt these last few days. I've had an absolute ball. The stalking's been fantastic, and now it's time to get him out.
Mecca 30 is the proud hunting clothing and equipment sponsor of Beyond the Divide, custom designed for our local conditions and uniquely Australian. Ask for it in store at your local gun shop or check out the full range at mecca30.com.au.